Okay guys, this video is just something that I would like to share about attaching an item like a sword or a staff or some weapon or something to a character in Rigify using the child as constraint. There are some problems when attaching it this way, and I'll show you what I did before to solve some of these issues and what the problems with that was, because it seems to be not so easy as you would hope. So this is Moses, and I'll just show you what Moses looks like. And he has a staff that he walks with. I've positioned it here with his hand on the staff, and he's on a Rigify rig. So the meta rig has already been created and so forth. And so on this staff, this staff is attached to the hand. How is it attached? Let me show you. So you can attach the staff to the hand, and what you would like to do is be able to grab the staff and then the hand moves. Why? Because you are going to manipulate the staff as he walks, and this staff is, as he walks, going to stick in the ground. And then when he walks forward, the stick is going to stay like a foot in one point. So when your root moves forward or your body moves forward or something, you would like this stick to be able to move with the hand, but perhaps just pivot around this point. So you do not want the stick to have its origin somewhere like over here, and so you can put the origin over here and then make the hand a child of the stick. That works fine, except there are some issues with that. First of all, you get if you move this or you move the root bone, the staff is not going to go with it, and you'll have to create actions for the staff separately. So in your NLA editor, you'll see strips for the Moses rig, and you'll have a strip for the rod. This means that any action the character takes, you're going to have for any animation that you want to make, you're going to have strips for the rod and strips for the meta rig or for the human rig. And why? It would be much better if we could have one set of keyframes in one strip that controls both the staff and the character. Now what I did previously is instead of moving the origin, I created an armature for the rod itself, and then I just do the child as constraint to this bone. But the problem is that you cannot make this bone a part of this armature, and that's what we want to do. We want to make the bone that controls the rod and that controls this IK segment for the arm, because this is an IK chain, right? A chain of IK bones from the hand, the forearm to the upper arm to the shoulder. That's an IK chain. And an IK chain, you move the end of the chain, like you can move this hand around, and the rest of the bones will follow. But in this case, we want to have this bone here, but we don't want to make it so strong part of the rig that this is the end of the chain either, because later on Moses might lose the stick or do something else or pick up something else, and then you would like to use this origin of this hand, and so we don't want to be that rigid either. So there is this very neat rigging add-on that comes with Blender called Rigify, and I should probably do a video series about Rigify, because it's received a lot of upgrades since Blender 3. So I'm going to load up just a new version, and in this version I've done some other things, and I've basically solved this issue of attaching this character, the rod to the character inside the rig. So let's see how we can do that, and I'm going to load the other one again. And at the moment, let's take a look at what's going on here, because I forgot. Okay, so I'm gonna clear this parent, keep the transformation for this guy, and I'm gonna hide this armature. And let's take a look at the hand. So the hand has this child of constraint to that armature. I'm gonna delete that. And now there should be nothing on this rod. Let's take a look. There's nothing on the rod. It's not parented to anything, and we can start from scratch. So I've also already done some work to modify and customize the buttons for Rigify here for this rig. And what we'll do is we're going to customize it a little bit more. So I'm going to go to the meta rig for this character, and I'm going to put my cursor on this rod, and I'm going to move it down to 0. This is going to be the origin of a bone that controls this rod. And so if I now go to the meta rig, I can go into edit mode, and then I get these bone samples. So I'm going to use a basic super copy, and there's a bone. I'm just going to say selection to cursor, and I'm going to select this, and I'm going to move it up to where the hand is supposed to be, right round about. So there's that bone. The second thing I'm going to do to this bone is I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to go to the bone tab, and I'm going to call that rod-bone. Okay, so this is the bone. And let's take a look at our meta rig layers. I'm going to select a certain layer here, so let me also activate this one, and then I'm going to go into pose mode. Select this bone, go to the bone tab, and I'm going to put this bone in this layer, which is empty at the moment for the meta rig. This bone doesn't have to deform, so I can deselect deform. And here I'm just going to put up a cube. This is a new widget that it'll hopefully generate for us. So so now we have a bone that's part of the Rigify structure. And then I'm going to go back to the armature, and this is now that's layer 1, 2, 3 up to 16 here, 17, 18, 24. This is layer number 24. This is 32. So on layer 24, so that's the layer. No, this is not correct. I'm just going to delete that. That's the layers. These are the 32 layers. On layer 24, I have the rod. I'm going to create a new button called rod, and I'm going to put it on the 7th row. So these are the rows. So this is the face, the eyes, the mouth on row 2, then the torso is on row 10, the tweak layer is on row 14, the fingers are on row 4. These are the button row numbers, and columns are, if you repeat a row number, then it just creates a new column. So, and here I'm going to select 5. Now I'm going to select 6, which corresponds to these colors. This is just the colors that's assigned to these controls. And I already have a rig here, so I'm just going to override it, and I'm going to say generate rig. And now we have a new bone here, but this box, this cube, that's supposed to be the control bone. I'm going to turn off the rig for a second, and I'm going to turn on the widgets, because this bone's control is not the way I would like it. So I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to scale it down like so. And what we'll do is we'll select those vertices and grab them and carry them, put them all the way to the top, and then we'll select these vertices and we'll bind them at the cursor. So now I have a point that I can place somewhere. Okay, so this is going to be the way the control looks like for the rod. It's big enough that I can see it, but I also have a point here that I can stick into the ground and make it stay in one place. Okay, so that's the new control, and I can turn off the widgets now. Let's go back to, and I'm going to also turn off the meta rig. So now if I turn on the rig and I go into pose mode, now I have a very nice orange bone here that I can control. Now the next thing that we need to do is we're going to try to attach the hand. So to do that, let's clean up these layers a little bit. I just need my IK hand, and I'm going to go here into a side view. I'm going to rotate this, put this over there, rotate it a little bit like so, and I'm going to look at the top, grab this, rotate it like so. Okay, so, and that's roughly, maybe rotate it a little bit like so. Okay, so now Moses is more or less holding this armature, and I can also select the fingers and select all of these, and we'll go to individual origins, make it so, scale it down. Okay, so there's the hand holding the rod. Okay, now let's turn this on here and just select, go into edit mode, put the cursor over here. Okay, and then we take this bone and we say Shift S, selection to cursor. Now this is the origin of the hand bone. As you can see, this is the hand bone, and this is the base of the hand bone. That's where that's now exactly on this thing right here. And so this is going to be useful to know, and you'll see in a second why. All right. So what we want to do is let's go back, put it over there, And I'm going to turn this guy off again. I don't need to see that. And let's do some things now. I'm going to turn on the rod. There's my rod button that I created on layer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a layer that's missing, so it's actually layer 7. But now we can take the root bone. We can grab it. We can move it around, and you can see I haven't parented the rod yet, but this bone is working with Moses. Now, if I want to make this a child of, I'm going to go here to this bone, to this tab, select child of, and I'm going to select my rig, and then rod bone. I don't need to work with scale. I'm going to set inverse anyway. And now if you grab the bone, hooray, the hand is moving with the bone. Okay, so you think you're done, right? If you can rotate it, this bone rotates perfectly, but there's a problem. If I move this root bone, you'll see that things are not working so well. My rod bone is still working with a character, but look at what my hand is doing. And this is because this constraint doesn't have a setting for the domain in which it calculates location and rotation. So it is basically calculating it in the wrong domain because it's not supposed to work inside on bones inside of an armature. And that's a problem. It would be really nice if Blender could add, the Blender Foundation could add that, because this is a very annoying limitation, that the child of function doesn't have its own domain. So to solve that, we have to add another constraint in a stack. We're going to use copy location, and I'm going to use exactly the same rig. I'm also going to use the rod bone, and I'm going to put it. That's why I grab the tail of that bone and put it over here. And now, if you move this character, you see that this thing is working fine. Now the hand and the rod are moving with, and I can grab my rod and I can do that. I can even rotate it, and the hand is rotating with it. Okay, so that's really neat. Let's just put it back in place. But there's a problem. Do you see what's happened here? The hand is copying this bone's location and moving this hand onto that exactly where its origin is. So it's not, now if I try to grab this hand, I'm pressing G and moving the mouse, nothing happens because it's not allowing me to move the bone. Now if you click this button, you can try to do it, but then again, if you do this, you're back to your original problem. So that doesn't work. And you can also play with the bones. You can try local, or try these things. It doesn't work. You can turn off local location on both the bones and try different combinations. It doesn't work. So so the solution to that is actually very simple. We're simply going to take not this bone, but let's go back to object mode and let's turn on our widgets. We're going to select this widget and we're going to select this thing. We're going to move our cursor back to the origin, or back to the 0Z, We're going to go to cursor as the transform origin. And now we're simply going to rotate this thing, both of these together, until they're inside the hand. Okay. Even though the bone is not aligned with this rod, it's not going to matter, because that's what I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be looking at. Let me turn this thing off. What is this? Yeah. Turn this off. It doesn't matter because they are still connected, and I'm going to keyframe basically just an offset, which it's not going to affect the animations. I'm not going to. I don't care where this bone is actually pointing. It can be pointing in this direction. So this is my visual key for controlling this rod. And now, if I turn off the widgets again, turn on my rig. It didn't work. Why not? Let me go back. Did I move the wrong one? I probably did. I probably moved the wrong one. Let's see. Okay, so let's move this one. First I have to turn off my rig. So turn off the rig. See this one? What is? Yeah, I turned. Let's see. Yeah, this is rod bone. So I moved the wrong one. I'm sorry. Okay. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to move this just like so. And I'm going to go here and just move this guy. So. Okay. And now I can turn this off. Turn on the rig. There we go. And there we go. So let's turn off everything. We'll just keep the root open and the rod. And let's put my cursor over here. Let's rotate it. Oh, and I need to do something else. So this rod, let's take a look at the armature. Which bone can I there's my bone, and so SuperCopy created a bone here called org rod bone, and if I move this thing, if I rotate this thing, the org bone, the original bone, is going to move. So what we'll do is we'll go into edit mode, select this bone, go back into object mode, we'll select the armature, select the rig, hit Ctrl P to bone. And now everything should work. So now if I could turn off the original bones, now I have a character that I can move around. So I can move this around, and I can move this around. And when I keyframe it, I'm going to have just one strip for the whole character with this item, with this staff. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I think this is a really neat trick, because now I can go and I can select this bone as an active element. I can rotate it, and look, it rotates around the point in the ground. So let's rotate it over here where it's nice and vertical. And now I have a resting pose that I can use for standing, where this rod is nice and vertical. And this is really easy to animate. So if I had to do swords or any weapons or things like that, I think I would use this method, because I would get rid of all these different strips. I would still be using the child of constraint, and I wouldn't have to deal with multiple action strips just for one animation in a character. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed that. Hit like and subscribe.